Okay, we are on. It is on. So, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us. Um,
Good morning for
this
some of
is
us.
good morning for some of you out there. We are just two African women having a conversation. My name is Anqueta Beatrice Achaleke, and I'm joined on in the studio by my sister, all the way from. She will tell you where she's joining us from, and then we will tell you what is the mission of this broadcast today. Why are we talking today? So, sister, I'll let you introduce yourself,
My
Elikia.
name is Elikia Dumbe. I'm joining from Toronto, Canada, outside in the
Okay.
cold.
It's winter out there. So
Hmm.
if you're joining us, we're broadcasting live on Facebook and on YouTube. So if you're here, we welcome you. We're just here to have a conversation with ourselves and with anyone out there who may be interested in this conversation. We're talking about the travel ban on South Africa based on the information that we have on the table. So we are no scientists. Let's make that very clear. We are not doctors. We are not scientists. We are not any one of those things. We're just two concerned African women who have the interests of the continent in mind and seeing what is going on. Thought like we should have a conversation. We should talk about this. We should not leave it in the hands of the politicians and the leaders and the scientists alone. We should have a conversation. So I'm so happy that you're joining me today, Ilikia from Toronto. I'm sorry that you're standing out in the cold. But you see, that's why this is so important that you stand in the cold to have this conversation. Why are you here?
You're breaking up a little. Is your question is why is it important for us to join to speak? Is that your question?
No, no, no. I'm just saying, like, you see, it's cold out there. You're standing out in the cold, and yet you're having this conversation. And this just
Yeah,
shows how important it is that we have no excuses, right? That we have the conversation.
yeah. So why I'm joining in the cold outside is that I'm very concerned. I'm very concerned. I have come at a point in my life where things should not be happening to me. I need to decide what is happening to me and what will not happen to me as long as me have the control. My control today is my voice. And my voice matters. No matter what they say, my voice matters. No matter how small it may be. One small voice added to another small voice, this can make a noise. So that's why I'm joining today.
Yes, and again, we are talking about the travel ban on South Africa based on the new virus, and I think we have prepared this conversation. We have some voices from some leaders, and we have some voices from some scientists who are talking about this, and the two of us will just be commenting. So if you're joining us, please feel free to use the comment box to join the conversation, share your opinion, share your experience, share your thoughts, share what you think that our leaders should be doing, what you think we Africans should be doing, and what you think the world should be doing as we carry on this conversation. If you're on YouTube or Facebook, please use the comment box. We will be taking your voices in the studio and joining you in the conversation. That said, I think let's look at the facts. We are talking about Omicron, the new COVID variant that was discovered by South African scientists and which was introduced into the world. And then there were some actions that were taken that we think that were unfair, that were not right, that
Or
needed some thought
I don't know
before.
if
Yes, Elikia, please go ahead. What is your take on the new variant and the decision that was taken by Britain and then some other Western countries with regards to South Africa and Southern Africa as a whole? Yes. Oh, we lost Elikia right there. She will come back. And before she comes back, I would like to share an article with you that I read. It's an article that was a comment that was written by the South African scientist who first discovered this variant and who took the message out. So I am going to read that to you. You'll see it on the screen right here. So I'm sharing my screen with you. This is Dr. Angelique Cote, and this is what she says. As chair of the South African Medical Association and the GP of 33 years standing, I have seen a lot of things over my medical career, but nothing has prepared me for the extraordinary global reaction that met my announcement this week that I have seen a young man in my surgery who had a case of COVID that turned out to be the Omicron variant. So she goes on to say, I have been stunned at the response, especially from Britain. She says, let me be clear, nothing I have seen about this new variant warrants the extreme reaction that the UK government has taken in response to it. No one no one here in South Africa is known to have been hospitalized with the Omicron variant, nor is anyone here believed to have fallen seriously ill with it. She says Britain and other European nations have reacted with heavy travel restrictions and flights from South Africa and across Southern Africa, as well as imposing tighter rules at home on the mask wearing and fines and extreme quarantines. The simple truth is that we do not know yet anywhere. We are not yet. The simple truth is that we do not know yet anywhere near enough about Omicron to make such judgment or impose such policies. This is just some of what she's saying. We will read that article further. I think Elikia is gone. I will wait until she comes. Well, I will just continue the conversation while waiting for her to come back. So if you're joining the conversation, wherever you're joining, please share your thoughts. How is this ban affecting you? How is the virus affecting you? You know, where are you right now? Where are you today? What impact has this got on you, on your livelihood, on your family, on your mental health and well-being? You know, there's so many questions that we should be asking ourselves. I see Elikia is back. I will get her back on screen when she comes back. Before that, I would like to continue to read the comment of Dr. Cote. She says, we have also become accustomed here to new COVID variants emerging. So when our scientists confirmed the discovery of yet nobody made a huge thing of it. Many people didn't even notice. But after Britain heard about it, the global picture started to change. European nations immediately and unilaterally banned travel from this part of the world. If, as some evidence suggests, Omicron turns out to be a fast-spreading virus with mostly mild symptoms for the majority of the people who catch it, that would be a useful step on the road to herd immunity. She says, for one thing, we have not, at least not now, treated patients who are severely ill. She says, she concludes by saying, the reality is that COVID is something we have to learn to live with. Look after yourself and above all, don't panic. Don't panic. This is what the South African scientists who discovered this variant of the pandemic is saying to us. And we are a little bit very concerned that the decisions that were taken were unilaterally based on banning travel to South Africa and Southern African countries. And if you're an African like me, you know, a proud African, you begin to ask questions like, where is this ban going to? You know, how long are we going to be banned? Could it be extended to other African countries? What are the impact? For Britain and the rest of the world, they may have just stopped people from traveling into South Africa. But the reality for people on ground is that this has to do with their livelihood. It has effect on businesses. People are losing businesses. The rate of unemployment has skyrocketed in South Africa. We're talking about 36%, as I read this morning. And so you begin to wonder, and this is just about a few days into this ban. We are in a high season of tourism. So you begin to wonder, what are other effects that we're going to be seeing on the continent, you know, on our lives, our businesses, and our families. For some politicians, it may just be, you know, sending a Twitter message on Twitter and saying, we're banning trips to South Africa. But hey, this has far-reaching consequences on this continent, on the people of this continent, than just placing a ban. And by the way, talking about that, I also read this morning that this Omicron is now in about 38 countries in the world. So why ban only South Africa or Southern Africa? Why put travel bans just on this part of the world? You know, when you're an African like me, a conscious African, you raise your eyebrows, you ask a lot of questions. You say, what is the mission? What is the purpose? What is the hidden message? What is it that I should be looking at? When I was doing my research this morning again, I came across some more comments and videos where Western countries are beginning to offer loans and relief programs to Southern Africa. You're wondering, why do you want to make us even more dependent? I mean, Africa has been made dependent for so many years, over the period of colonization, hundreds of years of colonization, during enslavement, during post-colonization. And today, we are trying to get on our feet, and you're still coming back and telling us you have packages for us, and you want us to be thankful. You want us to think that you have our interest at mind. And this is so very disturbing. This is very disturbing. And that's the reason why Elikia and I decided to have this conversation, to just invite those of you who are out there. Again, use the comment box and share your thoughts, share your experience, share what is going on in your mind when you realize that at the moment where we're struggling to get on our feet, we get sanctions imposed on us that will throw us back and make us even more dependent on Western aid, as if we don't have enough debt to pay. Elikia, sorry, the network was troubleshooting. I'm so glad you're persisting and that you're back.
Yes,
so I just shared the article, that the comment of the South African scientist, Dr. Angelique Coetzee, and read some extract. I was just kind of commenting on what I pick up from there. So I will just pass the mic on to you to share your thoughts as well.
Yes, I don't have the article in mind. I read it 2 days ago, I think. And this is one point, exactly. What about the science behind all that? What about the science behind the ban? There is no science evident. I watched yesterday, there was the spokesperson of the WHO who was asked about the impact of this virus on the health, of this variant on the health. And he said, so far, there was no death registered. So there was no fatality, but still, a ban is imposed on the people. This is very strange. This is very weird. And there is no point of this ban whatsoever. The other thing also she said is that the variant has just been found. The South African scientists were able to extract the variant and to inform the people of the world, and yet they are the one being punished because of that. So this is just a mystery of how the political world functions so far. So I don't know if I'm here by myself or if Beatrice is there.
I'm here listening to you. I just wanted to give you the focus because you were saying something very important.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Yes. So you
yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, please. Go ahead. Yes, so we were saying that I'm just kind of coming up with a hypothesis, assuming we know where this virus originated from, we know where the pandemic originated from, and in the conversation we do not hear very much people saying that the Chinese virus is here again. This variant was discovered in Africa, and you see it everywhere in the Western media. They say the African virus is here, and by so doing, they're stigmatizing us as if we do not have enough stigmas already. Poor countries, developing countries, third world countries, former colonies. All of these things.
Third world, emerging.
Right. Right. All those stigmas we have, and now we have the stigma of a virus that does not even originate from here, dumped on us. So, Elikia, let me pick your mind. When you look at the trajectory of this virus for the time that it has been here, and the conversation that has been around it, and now this ban, what goes on in your mind? What
So,
goes on in your mind?
first of all, I want to take us back a few years, last year, when Trump was still in power and was saying the Chinese virus, and people screamed and people made noise, and it was a no, no, no. And he was persistent saying the Chinese virus. And I don't agree with the way the way he said it. I don't agree with that. But as soon as I hear African variant, nobody is complaining. When the breakout of this pandemic appeared in China, who was ostracized and stigmatized? African people in China were beaten, were thrown
Indeed.
out of the countries. Everything under the sun happened to them. But you didn't hear much about this news being relayed in the media. So, what does it tell us about our place in this world? What does it tell us about who will be standing for us when we're in trouble? We have to do this on our own. We have to start talking. And I haven't heard much. You said people have been talking in the African continent, but I haven't heard many of our leaders, maybe some of them, the ones who are concerned, but I haven't heard many of our leaders talking about what's going on today.
I certainly, you touch on something very important that I would like to pick on before we come on what our leaders are saying. There have been some voices, and I will share one of the voices, one of the leading voices, one that really put it on point. And that is from Malawi. But let's go back. You touched on something. When this virus came, the people who were the victims, people who were stigmatized, people who were spot out and thrown out and treated very terribly, like you rightly say, were Africans in China, in Europe, everywhere. They were this, you had this kind of treatment. And then now, and I think the world doesn't want to believe that this is not an African virus. And when we tell them we don't have so many cases, they still come back with a question to say, it's because you're not testing, it's because you're not vaccinating. Why is it so difficult? Why is it so difficult for the world to understand that this is not an African virus, and that Africa, being on this continent, we have different conditions, we have different weather conditions, we have different pathologies, we have different things, and that we are reacting differently to this virus? Why is it? What do you think it's so difficult
I,
for
I
for
think
people to
I
wait?
think the word
Just we have someone joining on screen. I see you, Costa. Costa, yes, definitely. I know that you're in Cape Town. It's been a long time. We definitely have to catch up at some point. Today, we're talking about the effects of the virus and the ban on South Africa. And I know you are keen on travels in South Africa. So I do see you, and I think that I'll touch base with you. We have to catch up. Today, let's talk about the virus. Please drop us a note in the comment box. Let us know what is your take on this. And then I will pass the mic back over to Elikia.
Yes, I think people. Is it my turn?
Yes, please. Go
Yes,
ahead.
I think people know that it is not an African virus. They know that. But I also believe that there is an. I won't have many friends today. There is an agenda behind everything that's going on. And there is a reason why it has to be plagued on Africa. That this virus has to be plagued on Africa. When the virus broke out in China, Chinese were saying, "This is African who brought it here. It's not us. It's not us." Today, for the world to just because a variant has been found in Southern Africa, it has been found in other parts of the world, to paint it on the African continent or Southern Africa, it's just it's obvious for me that it's just a reason to lock this continent down. It's
I
not.
agree with you.
Is it conspiracy theory? I'm not sure about that. And if it's even a conspiracy theory, it's because there is a conspiracy. There's a conspiracy. For me, it's obvious. I don't have the I'm being emotional with this topic and I'm losing my English. So I'll let you pick up.
There is every reason to be emotional. There is, because again, as adults, I'm a mom. My daughter, I haven't seen my daughter for 3.5 years, and she just bought a ticket to come visit me during the holidays. And you're getting happy, you're like getting ready to have that bonding time, and then there's a travel ban. You know, and the psychological effects of this. We're all talking about mental health. People have been locked down for a long time, and the consequence of this on the next generation, the psychology of the next generation of world citizens of the world, whether they be leaders, service providers, whether they're business people, whether they're teachers, parents, the effects are going to be ginormous. They're going to be ginormous. And then when you are a Black child in a European environment, when you say you're going to Africa to visit your mom, people are already saying, "Oh, don't go to Africa." And then comes the African variant, and then it's all sealed. It's sealed for you. And what this little girl is going through right now is not the fact that she can't travel, but the impact, the mental, the psychological impact of this stigma. And she's not alone. I saw an article in a German newspaper that said the African virus is here, in our country. And
Same here.
you saw the picture of an African woman and a child on it, and you're saying, what games are being played here? What is the game? What are the rules of the game? And who is behind the game? You talk about conspiracy, and I'm fully by you.
Yeah, there's this internet newspaper, ONFR Plus. I will cite them because the guy did not respond. His name is Ruby Shaban or something like that. And who titled, "The African variant is among us." Whoa, what a danger. I see the hypocrisy of the situation, the big hypocrisy, because a lot of policies and decisions are being made in favor of Black people, but at the same time you keep on in your media stigmatizing them and nobody is speaking up. This is just a hypocrisy, because what also I see is that the economy is very bad. The economical impact that this will have in African countries is just terrible. And I believe that this will not only be limited to Southern Africa. The entire continent will be banned soon. And we have to speak up. Nigeria was among the countries banned. Nigeria is not in Southern Africa, but it was among the countries banned. So I don't know why. I haven't read about why Nigeria was banned.
And when you look at this continent, you realize that South Africa and Nigeria are the giant on the continent on different levels. These are two countries that really stand for Africa. And if these two countries are banned, if these two travel to these two countries are banned, then it rings a big bell in my head. You begin to really think about that conspiracy, and you begin to wonder which African country or region is going to be next. Which is going to be next, and when is the whole continent going to be cut off? And like we're saying, if the continent is isolated, and we know that goods that are taken out of the continent are not banned. I haven't heard them say we don't want gold from South Africa. I haven't heard anyone say we're banning copper, or we're banning all the natural resources from Africa. I haven't heard anyone say we're banning oil from Nigeria. I haven't heard anyone say we're banning cocoa and coffee and bananas and rubbers and all of the raw materials that we export to the Western world. Have you heard anyone place a ban on that?
I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting. I'm still and hoping.
I just wish that the place ban on goods and services coming from Africa so we can keep it on the continent. But no, it's about people. And again, we know how much stigma is going around. You mentioned something about the voices of the leaders. You and I can carry this conversation forever, but I want us to go pick a leader from Southern Africa who expressed his opinion, and I think he spoke for the continent. And if you don't mind, I'm going to pull that video on screen now, and we just share it with people who are joining. Again, people, we see that you're on Facebook, you're on YouTube, you're joining the conversation. We are happy that you're here. We're having an open mic. Please use the comment box and share your opinion, share your thoughts, share your fears, share what you think that we should be doing, we Africans should be doing, what the leaders should be doing, what we as a continent should be doing, and what the world should be doing right now. So the comment box is open for your comment. Use your voice. Your voice is powerful and it does matter. So let's have this conversation. Quickly, I'm going to pull up the comment from the leader from Malawi so we can listen to him.
Yeah. Can you please elaborate for us? I know that South Africa has said that it's actually a knee-jerk reaction.
Firstly, let me say that
we are now joined by Malawi Minister of Information and Chief Government Spokesperson Gospel Kazako. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon, Mr. Kazako.
Thank you.
Now, Malawi is saying that the travel restrictions imposed on SADC member countries amounts to Afrophobia. Can you please elaborate for us? I know that South Africa has said that it's actually a knee-jerk reaction.
Firstly, let me say that we celebrate with those scientists from Africa, the ones that had discovered this new variant before any other country, before any other continent in the world. We celebrate and we cherish them, and we're happy. We think strongly that this is indeed something that is not decided in good faith, because there isn't abundant evidence of science to motivate a decision or the decisions to ban countries to travel to certain countries. Let me also mention here that the way the decisions have been made, you can see that those that are highly involved in the process of making these decisions, they can't even speak with one scientific voice. For example, the United Kingdom has banned 10 out of 16 countries in SADC region. The United States has banned 3 out of 16 countries in SADC region, and Canada has done 8 out of 10, and Australia 9 out of 16. So one wonders how these decisions were made. The other thing is that this Omicron variant has been confirmed into other countries, or in other countries like Belgium, Germany, Israel, countries like Italy, Czech Republic, even the UK and Hong Kong. They have actually confirmed that they have this variant. But when you look at the list of red light countries, I think some of those countries are not appearing. So our motivation to take that position is not necessarily that we have an addiction to visit the UK or an addiction to visit the United States, no, but we are questioning the process, and we think that it's not smelling very good for fragrance. It is smelling a fragrance of certain genre of xenophobia, internationally processed xenophobia. You might wish to remember that this is not the first time that there have been such bans. But at that time, as a country, we had no problem. As a region, we had no problem, because there was evidence of science that had motivated those decisions. So President Lazarus McCarthy Chakwera, as chair of the SADC region, has shown leadership in leading, and I can assure you there are so many voices across Africa that are actually supporting his position that this is smelling Afrophobia and it's not made in good faith. Let me also mention here that this is not the first time that we are grappling with the problems like the ones that we are facing in the COVID-19 issue. Remember, we have HIV issue amidst us. And I remember very well that my president, who is the SADC chair, has made it very clear to so many countries in so many gatherings that countries in Africa must be given opportunities to, for example, produce COVID-19 vaccines, to produce any other medical or scientific interventions in the COVID-19 interventions. That has not been done, that has not been heard, and there has been silence. Now, the question that we have to ask as Africans, for example, HIV is said to be headquartered here in Africa, but if you check the factories, the number of factories that manufacture condoms, for example, I think 95, 98 factories are not in Africa. You know, the factories that manufacture ARVs, for example, just one simple example, are not in Africa. So these are just those sort of things that are fertilizing our thinking that maybe certain things are not done in good faith. We respect these countries, but I think it's also very important for them to be looking at African countries as equal partners and, again, equal inhabitants of this globe.
A very valid point, Minister, particularly if you look at where we are as a continent in the fight against HIV/AIDS. But going back to the virus now, I mean, we're seeing that these countries that have imposed this travel ban on the SADC countries, the numbers are skyrocketing. The numbers are very, very high. So how do you respond to the argument that these countries are proactive with the aim of protecting their citizens when they shut those borders?
Those are some of the syllabus that they use in the subjects of making sure that Africa is not ahead. Those are some of the articles and items that they use. You know, it's very, very clear that they're actually in trouble. And if anything, it could have been us banning them from coming to Africa and not them banning us to go to Africa. I'll give a good example here, one that will fertilize your question, I say, so that your viewers are able to understand this. We hear that there was a Malawian who had traveled to Israel, for example, and then when he did travel to Israel, I think he was found to have this new variant of COVID-19. But when you look at the list of countries that have been banned, for example, I think you find that Israel on many lists is actually absent. And Malawi is all over, just like any other country. We are of the view that if indeed these things were done in very good faith using scientific evidence, then I think those countries that are suspected or indeed are confirmed to have this Omicron variant could have been even on a deeper red list, so that fairness must be seen to be done. So we are aware Africa is now opening a new page of realization and is actually putting on very new lenses and is actually monitoring anything that will be smelling certain not well-processed imperialism and, of course, xenophobia and anything that is smelling and looking down upon it. And fortunately, we also have leaders, brilliant leaders like that coming from Lazarus Chakwera, president of Malawi, who is also a chairperson of SADC. This president will always stand strong and is not scared to actually stand for truth and truth for Africa, because it's high time that Africa started to protect its area.
Now, in fact, Minister, a lot, obviously, of African voices coming out condemning what we are currently seeing with these red travel bans imposed on several countries, particularly in Africa. In fact, Africa Vaccine Delivery Alliance, in an interview, also a television interview earlier, condemning, these travel bans and calling on the heads of states of Africa, particularly the SADC region, to come out very strongly and take this opportunity, to speak very, very strongly against the West and against these reactions that you are obviously stating as Afrophobia, knee-jerk reactions, etc., which also again speaks to that narrative of aligning themselves away from Africa and not really being inclusive. So Malawi, as the current chair of SADC, with President Lazarus Chakwera, is he intending to convene a virtual SADC meeting to discuss this crisis as an example? This decision will obviously affect the economy of the region, and leaders of the SADC region are being called to take a harder stance.
Yeah, you should expect a very strong voice coming from the SADC region. you should expect something very loud and something well calculated, but at the same time, very intelligent arguments coming from SADC region. The SADC region is very lucky that they have a leader who actually believes in Africa, and certainly when that meeting takes place, it will not just be a meeting that is full of placebos or just placebo talking. It will be a meeting that will be convened and to discuss matters that are having to be discussed, so that this issue is well dissected, and then we must find a solution. We must find a solution because the time to find the solution is now, and SADC is a very, very crucial part of the African region, very, very crucial, and it's also a very big market, I must say, about 360 million people, strong market in SADC. So yes, this decision will affect us. Because, as you know, that countries do trade globally, and there are certain things like tourism and others, certainly that will be affected. It's not the first time that we've been affected, I must say, but as I said earlier, that we never argued anything during the first time when such a decision was made, because at that time, I think we were convinced that there was evidence of science that had motivated that decision. But this time around, let me also say this, that we really don't know what these developed countries are planning, or whether they are indeed very interested to see our economies growing, or our economies having life, or our economies having to perform in the manner that is expected, because they are fully aware that all these economies are interlinked. And then should one country close out another, suddenly we are affected. Already in Malawi, the economy is not growing at the rate that we expect, and the major reason is the COVID-19. And then making decisions that will affect various economies, not just Malawi, but we should be looking at the SADC economy and, of course, African-wide economy. These decisions must be made thoroughly, must be made with abundant, clear, and honest thoughtfulness, so that there shouldn't be any genre of carelessness. As it is, I think one would be tempted to say that those that made these decisions were a little close to being careless, because we needed to have evidence of science for us to have these decisions. And let me also mention here that their failure to even collaborate amongst themselves, even to believe in science and let science guide them, speaks to us very fluently. It is whispering to us very fluently that something is not adding up when you're closing down 2 countries, another country is closing down 3 countries in the same region. COVID-19 is a pandemic that is affecting human beings. There are human beings in South Africa, there are human beings in Mozambique, there are human beings in Zambia, and all over in SADC region, human beings in Botswana, human beings in Eswatini. We really don't know how they will be making such decisions. But we are a civilized region. We have a civilized leadership. Certainly, I think those that are making such decisions will find a reason for us to sit down and discuss these matters and be able to close down any attempt in future to make decisions that are not well informed, but decisions that would be very, very detrimental to the economy and, of course, let alone to the majority of the people in SADC region and again in Africa as a whole.
So, Elikia, are you still here?
Yes, I am. I was cut off a couple of times, but I'm here.
Okay, so I don't know how much you picked up from that conversation from Mr. Gospel, who is the spokesman of the government of Malawi. He made some very huge points there that I picked up, and which I think they're extremely important for the conversation. So first of all, the last one he said, these countries are not even they're not even united in their action. Saying some of the countries are banning 2 countries in the same region, some are banning 7 countries. There's no unanimity. So you realize that
it may be because of their
done
interest.
out of use. Yes, go ahead, please.
No, I was saying that they are banning that depending on their interest. So if they have more interest here and there, that will decide their decision. That will inform their decision about banning this country rather than the other.
Yeah. So he also said that this is a time for Africans to speak strongly. African leaders to speak strongly, not just those in the SADC region, the Southern African region that has been banned, but also throughout the continent. And this is what we're doing today. It's not about leaders speaking strongly. We Africans have to speak strongly. The African youth has to speak strongly. African women have to speak strongly. African men have to speak strongly. Africans in the diaspora need to speak strongly. I don't know what is your pick on this. That's one of the things that he insisted very much on.
Absolutely, I totally agree with you. I have shared the information about this streaming today to some of my acquaintances and friends, and some of them were saying that, but our relationship with South Africa, and I said, this is not about our relationship with South Africa. Something happened in the past. Yes, we agree that it wasn't, they shouldn't have happened. But now it's about the fate of an entire continent, because this will not stop in Southern Africa. This will spread all over the continent. As the leader said, this is about xenophobia. This is about negrophobia. So the hatred against Black people. So you're in the continent or you're out of the continent, you will be concerned about the decisions that are being made today. So that's one of the reasons why I'm here, because this will have an impact on me, and this already has an impact on me. And not only me, I'm old. So our children and our children's children. So this is why we're here today.
And you said it, some people think it's South Africa. We are all Africans. We're all Africans. And like you said, something happened in the past. It were the great-grandparents of the same people who are placing this ban on us who did that divide in the past. And over the millions of years that have gone by, the hundreds of years, let me put it that way, we should be learning the lesson now to understand the divide and rule strategy. The divide and rule, to say we pick there, and then you think like, I'm a better African country, I'm not yet affected, so I'm not going to show solidarity. It's a mistake that we're making. I wish that we get to the point where you say, you touch one African country, you touch all African countries.
Exactly.
You touch one African countries, you touch all of us. And if we get to that point, giving the resources, the role that this continent plays in the world, whether it's hosting their military bases that are on the continent, whether it is supplying them with raw materials, whether it is taking care of the old people in the Western countries, we know that Africans do that. They take care of the old people out there. So all the things that we're doing, if we will stand as one voice, this will create a big, big front. And it is not in the interest of these people. And this is the reason why they will divide. And if we fall in that trap, we continue to fall in that trap of thinking it does not affect me, it's them, not me, then we will continue to be victims. We will continue to be put aside. We will continue to be sidelined. And we saw what happened ever since this pandemic. Who are the people, when we're not being directly exposed to the pandemic, our people who are out in different countries, how they're being discriminated. There's a lot of Afrophobia, like he said, going on in the world ever since this pandemic came. A different kind of racism has emerged. A different kind of discrimination has emerged. A different kind of stigmatization has emerged in the world. And I think we got to be, it's highest time. I get passionate about this. I get really, really, really heated up when you look at the scope of the impact of the decisions that are being made, and some of which we're not even aware of. Your take on this, Elikia?
So yes, absolutely. I totally agree with you. I don't know if we have time to touch about moving forward. What are the actions that each one of us can take? Where can we go? How can we speak up? What can we raise awareness? And as you touch the rule of divide and conquer, this is also being playing among us, among what is going on in the continent today, among the wars that are being waged in the continent today. It's still because we are not learning from the past. We are not learning how the division is coming from and how it was orchestrated. We are not learning any of that. So a lot of ignorance has been going on, and this is why we're still, some of us are at war with another another African in the continent or outside the continent, because we don't know our history. This is one point. The other point also I wanted to raise was about the opportunity that is given to us to reciprocate. What about the is it what you say, reciprocation? What about we reciprocate? Okay, you want us to lock down Africa? Let's lock it down completely. Let's lock it down about you touch about the goods. What about that? What about we lock down completely the continent, and then we will lock it, we will also lock the goods. We will lock those who have an interest to come and invest in the continent. What about that? And how can we make that happen? The only thing, if we go that way, is that we are human beings, so we will be separated from our own people, but at the same time, at one point, there is a choice that we'll have to make.
Yes, and I agree with you that we should gradually be moving. You know, there are certain things that you said. If you allowed me to kind of rephrase them, I would say we should be learning about our history more. I would say we should be learning about our history more.
Yeah.
We should be coming out of ignorance. We should be taking more actions. We should be seeing much more. You know, and I think quite often when we say we're not, some people just fall back and say,
that's true. We
don't need
absolutely.
resignation.
You're right.
We don't need resignation. Right. We need more people to stand up. And you and I are here today. We said we are doing this for us because we can't sit by and watch this happen. We are here. You ask, what is the way forward? We are encouraging. We are calling. This is an urgent call to action. Wherever you are, make the use of your voice. It is about you. And if you think it's not about you, it's about the next generation. Look, enslavement, we're still feeling the consequences of enslavement and colonization. We were not there. Our grandparents were not even there. But it is still upon us today. So whatever is being done today is going to be upon our children for generations and generations to come. And when you go back to your ancestors one day and they ask you, what did you do? When you go and Kwame Nkrumah asks you, when Winnie Mandela asks you, when Yasantewa asks you, what did you do with the fight that has started? What is going to be your answer? And I think when we look back and when your grandchildren say, okay, this COVID was going on, what did you do? What did you do? I wish that every one of you who is out there, who is listening to us, let this be an invite. Let this be a call. We're calling upon us that we should use our voices, use our spaces to just explain how we feel about this, to raise awareness, to talk to people, to talk. We shouldn't just let people think that it's okay with us. We are not okay. It is not okay. So raising our voices is the least we can do. And if 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people are raising their voices, irrespective of where you are, irrespective of in which African countries or which diasporan country, wherever you are, if we are raising our voices and saying, no, enough is enough. We see you. We've been seeing you. You can't come any further this far and stop, and telling our leaders what we wish we expect from them and let them know that we stand behind them and we expect them to take action. I don't know. This is where I think we should be going to. As of me, I know I will be doing this next podcast next Saturday. I know that you and I was going to be here next Saturday. So we will continue this conversation just to make sure to let, to let people know we're not just doing this out of the blue like the Western countries did to ban South Africa. We want to ignite a conversation, and we hope that you will be part of the conversation when we continue, and that you host conversations in your spaces as well. Elikia, over to you, my sister. Elikia, are we losing you? You're like frozen. Okay, when you come back, please just give me a sign. We are almost coming to the end of this session. We just wanted again to express our concern about the ban on South Africa and the fact that this is more than just banning a continent. And also the fact that we know that banning people from traveling affects everyone. It affects everyone and it affects the whole continent. And we know that goods that are coming from this part of the Africa and from Africa are not being banned from entering Europe or entering all the countries that have banned travels to Africa. We want them to know that this is having an impact on our economy. It's having an impact on lives. It's not just about people spending holidays in Africa. It's about livelihood. And we want you out there to know that we are concerned, we are watching, and we want this conversation to happen we want you to know that the decision is unfair. It is unfair, not because we're being emotional, even though I have the right to be emotional right now. It's not fair, and we wish that we raise our voices. We shouldn't let this to happen as long. We experienced this during the colonization. We experienced this during enslavement. We experienced this during apartheid. We are experiencing. Why should we keep accepting? Why should we keep accepting that these countries divide and rule in our continent, and that they destroy livelihood? In South Africa, where the Omicron variant was discovered, yes, the numbers are increasing, but we haven't had any severe cases. No people have been hospitalized, as far as I know. But in the countries that are banning, they have thousands of cases going on. So why is it that South Africa and Southern African countries should be banned? So again, use your voice. Use your voice. I'm here to use my voice. I just can't stand by and watch this happen. This continent is too important for me, and I'm a too proud African woman to watch this happen without saying a word. Whether I stand alone or not, I don't care. I just wish that more people will express how this is affecting them. So Elikia is gone. The network was not very good. So I thank you all who joined on Facebook and on YouTube. If you like this, you can share it with people. Go in your own spaces and do your own videos. Tell the world how you feel as an African. And if we do this, more of us, maybe someone will listen. But if not, at least we have the clear conscience that when we turn to our great-grandchildren in the next generation, we will say that we did something. And when we go back to our ancestors, we will let them know that we did not stand by and watch the world put us aside and rule over us and discriminate and stigmatize us. My name is Beatrice Achaleke. I'm done speaking, and I hope that you pick something from here that will allow you to raise your voice as well. That is the end of the broadcast. I'll be back on Saturday. Thank you. Stay safe. Keep away from the COVID. Please do not panic, and own your story and be proud. Be a proud African. Thank you.